All right, we're live. We're live, everyone. Hello, everyone. It's Hey John, and today we're doing a special AMA with Squidgrow, one of the largest and fastest growing cryptocurrency in the market. And I like the way it's going. And today we're going to have Dane Sheeb, the CEO, and Ardub, the CFO, and Dane is a marketing director. So obviously, I will let them tell them who you are. So I'll start with Dane and go on the table that way.
Sure. So first off, I apologize if my mic is not the greatest quality. I'm currently driving from Texas to Florida. Long road trip. Been going for about 8 hours. Happy I was able to get on the call with you guys, though. It's a pleasure to be here, John. Myself, a little background about me. I've been in crypto since 2016. Started off as a TA guy. Got bored of that and started going into DeFi really early on in 2018 when it was really basic. And that kind of led to my interest in meme coins. Fast forward a couple of years, I got my big break with Veracity. From there, I kind of got on the map a little bit from the marketing community and started making some friends and different groups on Telegram. And that led me to work with some more high-profile projects over the coming year. And so in that time, just was able to create a ton of networking connections in space. And I love to be able to give back to projects and help them grow. It's one of the most satisfying things for me. I finally feel like I have a place in crypto doing that way that I can bring value to people. I'm not a coder, not an artist, not an NFT guy, anything like that. But I can talk and I can market projects and I can connect people to people in a really quick way. So I'm happy to have found Satoshi and Ardub because I have rarely ever seen a project so full of potential ever. And then especially to catch it this early on, to be able to come on board is definitely a privilege and a pleasure. And yeah, over to you, Ardub.
Wow. Cool.
Okay. Thanks, Dan. Good introduction. So my name is Ardub. I originally got into the crypto space in about 2011. At that time, obviously, it was Bitcoin. I slowly taught myself crypto over the following years and started trading, mainly top 200 coins, not making significant amounts of money or anything like that. But I definitely had a really big interest in crypto and it's always caught my attention. So it wasn't really until probably about 18 months ago that I found myself in the BSC space. And I can't actually remember how I landed there. It was probably, reading an article on like Yahoo Finance or something like that about some sort of meme coin or something, and I went down the rabbit hole and taught myself how to use Trust Wallet and MetaMask and all that stuff. But anyway, obviously, I originally came in as an investor. And went through all the ups and downs that everyone goes through in, the BSC space, getting rugged and honeypots and all those types of things, which was, lots of fun. But eventually it was kind of similar to Dane in that, I love making good connections and networking and stuff like that as well. So I found myself, calling promising projects in an elite whale community for a period of time, which was really good as well. And then it was through a project that both Shibtoshi and I are investors in that we actually found ourselves in a different private whale group. And that's how I met Shibtoshi. We started talking quite frequently just about crypto in general, about the general sentiment in the space, and how we would like that to change. And I guess that's how we landed on the idea, that we would do Squidgrow. And I will let Shibtoshi expand on that story of how Squidgrow came about and the contracts and all that sort of stuff. So handing it over to you, Shib.
Great introduction. So how's it going, everyone? I'm Shibtoshi. I'm the owner of Squidgrow. I myself got into cryptocurrency back in 2011, similar to Ardub. It was Bitcoin for me, and I found Bitcoin through the form of online poker games. So I had some friends that we were all into playing poker in Vegas, and they started talking to me about Bitcoin, which I had already heard about it the year before. Generally, I thought it was some kind of scam. I didn't really look into it much at that time. If I recall, you could get 11,000 Bitcoins for about $10,000. So it was just under $1 a Bitcoin.
Wow.
Didn't really pay much attention to it, but through my friends, I realized that they were into Bitcoin. So I started inquiring about it, bought my first little bag of Bitcoin, transferred it out to one of these private poker rooms online, and jammed it out for about 9 hours of Texas Hold'em. And at the conclusion of that, I actually got wiped out. So, so a couple days later, we ran another game. I got the invite link, funded the account, and I did pretty good. So then, it was, what do I do with my Bitcoin at that point? So going through my friends, they kind of explained to me a couple different ways of how I could convert it to fiat. And when I actually did that first conversion and turned it into hard paper, I was like, holy cow, like this is real.
It's real, right?
Like, I can actually spin this.
There you
So
go.
it quite intrigued me. So I hit up all the Reddit posts that I could find about it, every Google article that I could find, just started really reading into it, was really intrigued by the creation of Bitcoin and everything that, he stood for and his whole visions and goals. It came about in a time right after the 2008 recession time, I guess I'll say, with the house market crashing and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I really loved the idea. I really loved the fact that there was only 21 million Bitcoin ever going to be in circulation ever. Obviously, there's only going to be 20 million unless the first million that was transferred in the blockchain actually starts moving. But I really loved the idea that it couldn't be, they couldn't mint more. And so that was kind of my crypto, stepping foot into the whole crypto realm for me. Through that, I expanded to other cryptocurrency. Obviously, Bitcoin was the big one for the longest. I played around with Zcash, Litecoin, Ethereum, obviously, Bitcoin Cash when that came out. I mean, just essentially every kind of crypto that just started coming out, I tried to get into it as early as possible. Kind of fast forwarding a little bit, I had a good buddy of mine that was into the stock market. I was gently talking to him about cryptocurrencies. And, he had the same mindset as I did originally. Oh, it's a scam, it's not real money, so on and so forth. And he was talking to me about, his stocks and his returns. And this particular conversation, he was boasting about how he had a 30% return this past year.
That's
And
huge.
in the stock
That's huge as the market.
And I kind of laughed at him, and I was like, damn, dude, I've seen my portfolio swing triple that in a day. Or, it goes the opposite way as well.
Right.
But unbeknownst to me, him and some of his friends actually started looking into crypto, and it was this group of friends that actually introduced Shiba Inu to me. So my buddy started hitting me up about it August 1st, and it's the Dogecoin killer. Well, I didn't invest into Doge. I have my own personal reasons for that. I got nothing against the community or the project itself. I just didn't get into it. And they were marketing it, the Dogecoin killer. And I'm like, I don't know. And my buddy was pretty persistent about it. So finally I relented, and I found out what my 7 other buddies had invested into SHIB. I just thought it would be hilarious if I bought more than them. So I started buying, August 1st, and I accumulated $8,000 worth of Shiba Inu. I was almost immediately upside down, and it remained that way. And I was like, God dang, man, this is what I figured would happen.
Right.
So some of my original friends, they sold for losses, which they still cry about today. And some of us decided to dig in, but it was really the strength of the community that kind of drew me to it. I really liked what the community was doing. They took the Dogecoin formula and perfected it, in my personal opinion.
Okay.
And, and I thought if it could, this might actually be a Dogecoin killer. It's got all the makings. So, I dug in for it. I wrote it up. I wrote it down, and if anybody knows the story, I wrote it up into the high billions, and, haven't pulled any profit. In November, I split some of my wallet up. It was, anybody that's in the SHIB community would know probably the sentiment about this particular wallet. So for the sake of the community, we split the wallet up. Nobody likes to see a wallet holding a massive amount of supply. It makes it a little easier to digest and justify investments.
Right.
And I just banged it out for the long haul. Kind of fast forwarding a little bit, it was kind of around this time, in the BSC space and the Ethereum space that, you started seeing more and more scams popping up, honeypots, so on and so forth. One of my good buddies, the Huntsman, we actually got involved in our first honeypot together. There was this project, everybody was talking about it, at least in my circle. I was like, oh man, this looks like it's going to do amazing. So we invested into it. I brought the Huntsman in and one of my other buddies, and the Huntsman and I started banging it out for top wallet. He'd buy more than me while I was sleeping. I'd wake up, see he was now wallet 1, so I'd have to outdo him. And we went back and forth for a couple of days, leading up to the point where the developers pulled the rug on us. And
wow.
It's one of the worst feelings in the whole world. You know what I mean? It's just like agree. you got robbed.
I've been there.
Robbed. So yeah, I've been there too. And it's just a real crappy feeling. But that wasn't the first scam for me.
Oh, okay.
But I've been robbed of my money a couple times. Luckily, it's not was never really big amounts. But it still sucks just the same.
No, it's a feeling, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's a feeling of being disrespected, It doesn't matter how
exactly.
It's like, bro, it's a principle.
They draw you in.
It's a principle,
and there was
one
one project that I saw it coming.
Yeah.
They changed the contract so you couldn't sell, but right before they did that, they posted a screenshot of their liquidity lock, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And everybody's like, "Oh yeah, liquidity's locked." I'm like, "Where's the link? I want to look at the link." And they never produced it. And shortly thereafter, they pulled the rug. One of my buddies kind of saw it coming, so he actually got out. He was wallet number 2 right underneath me. So he's the only one out of my circle of friends that actually made money on it. At the time, I was mad at him because he owned a big percentage and he hurt the chart. But I guess he saw it coming, so he's an intelligent guy for that. But it's through this sediment, in this space and all these scams and some of my personal friends buying into crypto the first time, getting rugged, and then writing off the whole cryptocurrency as a scam together, and swearing off of crypto for the rest of his life.
I get that feeling. I get it.
So with that, talking to some of my personal friends, it was back in November of 21, right around the time Squid Games Netflix series came out, that I decided I wanted to do something that was memeable. There was a couple options that I had. I actually had a couple different contracts coded up, and I was going to go with the Squidgrow, and trying to figure out how to deploy the contract and fine tune the contract code. Squid Games came out, and I was late. And the Huntsman can tell you all about that because he was on me to deploy it. And then I was late to the party, so I shelved it. And we all know what happened with that. But to touch base on the name of Squidgrow, at the time, Squid Games was huge, right? It was a very memeable thing.
Yep.
And in addition to that, there was another project that had Grow in the name that was doing amazing. I was actually invested in that. I made a lot of money.
Oh my God! Is it Evergrow coin?
Yes,
please tell me it's not that one. Is that one?
It's Evergrow. Yeah.
Oh my God! All right, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead. I was like, don't tell me that one. All the ones you can pick.
Sorry, John.
No worries.
Just gotta keep it real.
Keep it real, bro. I appreciate that. Go ahead.
Gotta keep it real. But I don't know that I didn't know there was anything there between y'all. But anyway, it was actually Evergrow coin. And
it's
a lot of my buddies and I, we got in really early. I got in from one of my influencer buddies that told me about it.
Yeah.
And I got all the rest of my friends in. So it did really well. But anyway, it was because of these two things that I decided to name it this. And then the Squid Game token came out, and decided to shelf it. And my friends continued to invest and lose money, and the husband, being one of them, was on me to come out with my own project.
Right.
And eventually, after some time had passed. I landed in a private whale room, as RW had said, and I met him, and we got to talking and sharing our views on the whole crypto space. And you know, we started talking about doing a project.
Right.
And I said, hey man, you know, I've got a couple contracts we can pick from. You know, let's run with one of them. And we decided to go with Squidgrow.
Wait. Is this Kelly? I don't know. What's going on here, guys? What's going on? I don't know.
We decided to go with Squidgrow. It was a contract I already had coded, and I already had the logos made up. So we ran with that. We deployed it on June 17th. Anybody that doesn't know, like the first day of actual deployment, there was an issue with the contract code. There was Uniswap code in the contract. And essentially some people were able to buy, some people weren't. The common denominator is nobody could sell. And we were like, oh shit. So in a matter of minutes, we had to shut it down. We announced to the community what was going on.
We thought we'd launched a honeypot. We were like, oh my God, this is the worst thing
exactly
ever.
What I said. And so we told the community what we were doing, and within 24 hours, we came out with a new contract. Airdropped all of our 85 holders their tokens that they had purchased, moved liquidity over, started trading, and you know, banged it out from there. I thought there was going to be a major sell-off, you know, because of what had happened. There was a bit of a dip, but then we gained traction, and we just started hitting the ground running. You know, RW played a major role in that in you know, the beginning, and still continues to do so. And you know, I mean, that brings us to kind of where we're at. You know, over this kind of amount of time, you know, I met the Blockchain Brothers, Dane, and he's been super valuable to the project. So we partnered with him. And
I'm sorry, who again? The Blockchain Brothers? Who again?
Blockchain Brothers, yeah.
Yeah, I should have probably mentioned that. I'm just
what's that?
I should have probably mentioned that. We'll get into that a bit more. But yeah, I've in my business of marketing, we've actually created our own company called the Blockchain Brothers, and we are officially partnered with Squidgrow to basically constantly engage with them and plan those activities out ahead of time, so that it always seems like we have something coming out. You know, even times when we're quiet, you know, we've always got stuff that we have loading. It's just a matter of time before it hits, and it definitely helps you sleep better when you're running a project, having some proactive planning as opposed to just being completely reactive. Like, oh, what I do, what I do about this, what I do about that. So that's kind of where we come in and help out these guys. It's easy for us, so.
Gotcha. So is Block Brothers kind of like the project management team for you guys? It sounds like kind of like that kind of thing. Is that kind of a takeaway?
Yeah. So the Blockchain Brothers, they're I guess at heart they are you know, a group of marketers, but you're exactly right. They manage everything that you can think of, from you know, even advising us on decisions that we're making as well. So they kind of help in every area that you can think of. It's been just like so valuable for Squidgrow since we partnered with them as well. Yeah.
Oh, very good.
I'm glad to hear that, guys. Yeah, marketing is an all-encompassing word. It takes an entire army to run marketing. It's not just me and our company. It's also these guys, and it's also our whales, and it's also the community and the admins, the mods. That's all part of marketing, because all of that basically creates a singular package that your investors see when they come to the project. And if you don't, if you have holes in that game, if you're rough around the edges, you know, that can hinder you. You can throw money at something, but if you have leaks, you know, in the pool, so to speak, it's going to put you in the ass. And so we sort of take that investor approach. You know, I'm a long-term investor as well, like Satoshi. I've been burned many, many times. I've also taken projects that are small and turned them into billion-dollar projects. So I've seen the journey and the evolution, like Satoshi did with Shiba. And it is a long, grindy, sleepless night process. And you have to put the right people around you. I'm happy to be a part of that, but I would be lying if I said it was all me and the Blockchain Brothers. There is an army of people helping in Squidgrow, which makes our job a hell of a lot easier. Okay.
So Dane, you work for the Blockchain Brothers, is that correct? Or is that your company or something? Or
that's my. So there's another guy named ISO. He's the CEO of it. I'm as well on that level with him, basically like the VP. And then we've got Mateo. So the three of us are working together on that company, and it is essentially we just open up all of our connections to Squidgrow without any extra charge. We do all the different planning. We get on board with them, stay up till 6, 7, 8 in the morning, you know, dealing with certain instances of FUD and figuring out what we're going to do the next day and how to get the exchanges out in time. Like there's so many little subtleties that you don't notice about a project that's in the background, and that's where we're there. Kind of different than a traditional marketing company where you have sort of a set schedule and like a 9 to 5 guy that responds to you during certain hours. You know, we'll stay awake with you 20, 21 hours a day, sometimes not sleep, to make sure the project's doing good because, that's we know what investors expect. Crypto moves fast. You cannot let your foot off the gas, especially in the Bitcoin space, which is largely driven by hype at times and not just utility. So it's a constant job and a constant fire that you have to fuel.
Wow, you guys really do. You guys really do provide a white glove service, like A to Z. You know what? I'm your man, right? That's you, huh? I like that.
We try.
Pretty much.
So where did you, Dane? Where do you come in? Like, where did you meet RDub and Shib? I mean, like, was it just a friend of a friend or something? You just like, I mean, how did this happen? Like, how did you guys meet each other?
Well,
obviously,
the timing of it was pretty amazing because, you know, I was really ramping up my time spent into crypto and trying to get more into the marketing scene and get, you know, on projects that were worth my time. And the one thing I can't stand in the space is dealing with the little degen projects that pump up to like 100K market cap or maybe even 1 million. Then like a bunch of people just take extra liquidity and smash them. I don't like pushing stuff like that. So for me, I'm always seeking those top shelf, you know, premium level projects that when you see them, you're just like, holy shit, is this serious? This can't be real. Right? And so Shibtoshi, I guess you came to me through a mutual contact, Mateo. And when I first found out about Shib and RDub, I was like, no way, man. Like, that's cool, bro. It sounds like just some story thing. That's what I said. I was like verbatim. And I kept talking to Shibtoshi. And then one night we got on the horn and talked for like, I don't know, what was it, like 3 hours. And just started talking. We just started talking crypto, you know, nothing in particular, nothing about Squidgrow. And, you know, going back and forth with them. And after the conversation, you know, I sat down on the couch and I was like, well, shit. Like, it sounds real. And I told Isa and Mateo, like, they're like, yeah, man, you know, we'll give it a shot. We'll see what happens. Jump on board, you know. And we did. And, you know, that's kind of hindsight 2020 now. You know, ever since then, we haven't stopped. We sacrificed most of our normal sleep schedules and eating schedules and, you know, daily routines. And here we are. And I guess it was by chance, but I would like to think that we met, you know, I think there's some type of karma thing that came to play there, because there was a point just a few months back where I was actually on the team of Floki, helping them market for a long time. And I was like diamond-handed Floki whale as well, that held my bag from all-time high where I aped in tons of my portfolio to the bottom, took a huge loss. I took such a massive loss that I was literally depressed for like a whole day. And then I got up off my ass and I was like, you know, screw this, dude. I'm not going to be one of them guys that gets spit out by the market. Got right back in. Got into another coin as well, and then around that time, that's when Shibtoshi and I just crossed paths, and the rest is history. So I would like to think that's, you know, not by chance.
Okay. So when you were on Floki, I mean, I'm kind of deviating, only because I'm curious. When you were on a Floki marketing team, were you also at a point? Did you meet Dogecoin a Millionaire, the kid, or? Yeah. So he came into the chat to talk to us a couple times. He was hilarious when he took on Floki. The amount of FUD that he got for that. It was actually real, man. The Doge community like hated him. They hated him really, really bad for like a couple months. I think they've welcomed him back in now, and he's a great dude, man. And actually, people told me I look like him. We look. Really? Wait. Are you telling me you have an 03 Corolla that's where the clear coat's kind of fading off and peeling off too?
No. And the crazy hair and like the same stuff going on there. So yeah, Dogecoin Millionaire is a great dude, man. Saber is an idol of mine. Getting to know Saber, Mr. B, and those guys was a privilege, and to work alongside with them, just helping them queue things up like Certic and exchanges. That was kind of my role. And the thing about Blockchain Brothers now, you actually, you know, it's a company, it's put its name out there. We were still around back in the Floki time and prior, but we kind of only operated in the background because we didn't want our name to be out in public. And the reason why is because typically speaking, when you see marketing companies come into the DeFi space, how many of them have stood the test of time, right? Very few. And I think the reason why is because they take on too many projects, they spread themselves too thin, and then before you know it, they mess up and they get a bad reputation. Nobody wants to hire them anymore. And that's why we're so selective with the projects that we take on, because we realize that we're only a few people. We can't take on 10 projects. You can only be so many places at one time without pissing somebody off. And so that's kind of our secret formula, I guess you could say, is when we do it partner with the project the way we do Squidgrow, we basically become part of that team. It becomes very personal to us.
Okay. Well, I guess let me ask you a question, Dane, since you mentioned like the blockchain brothers, you guys only take on certain projects that are, top shelf, et cetera here, right? But my question to you is that how do you know, how did you know at the time that Squidgrow with SHIB and RDub, it would be a top shelf product? I mean, if you hear a story of, no offense or anything, you hear the SHIB saying, I'm the billionaire guy, coming in, it sounds a little sketchy. I mean, to me at least, initially. That's kind of why I didn't buy it initially. But, now I'm kind of getting into the whole Squidgrow scene. I'm like, all right, I'm kind of drinking Kool-Aid now, you know what I mean? So with that being said, even earlier before this happened, I mean, what gave you that confidence? Like, you know what, this dude's a real deal? Or, I mean, how did that happen? How did I come about? Is my question.
Well, I came in a little bit later than RDub and these guys, of course. So I came in when it was around about 600K market cap. So they had already started getting some momentum and had a nice package together. So it was a little more attractive than if you had just came on at like 35K, which I wish I did, of course, because I would have, it's sitting even more pretty now. But I have a nice bag that motivates me. So, but it's nothing crazy. But like shit, I wish I'd seen it at 35K. So that wasn't necessarily what did it, though. I would say what made me attracted to it, aside from Shibtoshi and RDub and the team they had there, and how well their whales were organized and communicated effectively, and how awesome their community looked. Aside from those things, a couple factors that made me realize that it wasn't crap. You need funding, right? That's the first one. That's a given. Most projects die because they don't have funding. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Funding. Okay, gotcha. All right.
Sorry, if my phone starts to cut out, just let me know. I'll shut up for a bit.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the first one is funding, right? So that most projects die because they don't have it, and they try to line up one or two big plays, and they spend it, or they usually sell out on it. And at that point, if those plays don't hit, the volume dries up, and it becomes very hard to actually do anything, because the crypto space is expensive, man. The bottom line is expensive. Shibtoshi will tell you, I'm sure here shortly, how much he's hashed out so far and how brutal that can be on somebody's wallet, let alone if you can actually generate the volume to fill a marketing wallet to sustain the needs of a project. And the expectations of this very short-term minded audience, to say the least, in this bear market are enormous. Like, for instance, we had 4 exchanges released last week. 3 of them were tier 2s. And almost instantly after we announced the 3rd one, we had a sell-off. And it just shows you that people aren't really thinking long-term in this market. They're just trying to get a 2x or a 3x or something like that. So you've got to constantly have output. And so I knew after talking to these guys, they were going to be able to generate that output. And that's something that's extremely important. The other thing is the community. I saw, guys like Parker in the chat, DJs, like all these little cool things. The meme ability of the token, the meme contest that we had going on last week, incredible output from the community as far as that goes. And that's the other big one for me. It was just seeing how well they interacted, how bullish the Telegram looks. And then, hearing the secret things that I can't really say anything about in the background, I guess is the 3rd one. I know what this project has in store. I'm one of the lucky few that gets to see into the future and what's coming. And God, that's all I'll say about that last one is that I liked it quite a bit.
Well, obviously you have to know, right? Because in the future you have to plan for it and execute it. So obviously you're one of the people who wouldn't know, which makes sense.
This is a game of chess, and Dane's always seems to be thinking about 7 moves ahead. With the knowledge that he has. So he's a rock star. I mean, that's all I can say.
Thanks, man. The last thing I'll say is it really is true. From the eyes of a new investor, they hang out in the chat and they stare at the chart all day. I know this because I do this, and we all probably do it to some degree. But being having PhD, I do it in a very obsessive OCD way where I will not take my eyes off my phone or laptop for the majority of the day. And so I do that for projects I invest big money in. I know that we have big investors here doing the same. And that's just the reality. If you don't have new updates, new things, fresh new content coming out as a day-to-day basis, they're going to get bored. They're going to go join that new token they heard about. And maybe they'll come back. But if in the process, you lose so much momentum. And I really do believe it's a game of momentum. And
Right.
if you talk to the guys that have ran big meme coin projects like Floki, like SafeMoon, like Shiba, you'll hear stories about the nightmare of the almost like the war they were in for the several months that they were trying to generate and keep that momentum. You just can't let your foot off the gas. You cannot. And that's my job, is to make sure that there's stuff coming that makes investors excited. And that's not easy to do always, because you have to plan in advance. And sometimes they don't release when you want them to. But I'm happy because these guys are doing that with me on a day-to-day basis. And every week so far, we've always had things to look forward to. And this week coming up is no exception.
Right. That makes a lot of sense too. Okay, wow. So it sounds like you guys are on retainer, and you also have an actual investment in Squidgrow. So that's kind of cool. So I can see where your priorities lay, right? Obviously, you get a paycheck, plus you want to see your investment take off to be $1 billion market cap or whatever it may be. So that's cool. As an investor, I like that. You know what I mean? I like that.
Yeah,
So I'm good for that.
Put your own personal money at risk. It always motivates you to work harder. In any project I've found, I always do that. I don't like team tokens. In fact, I don't hold any team tokens. That's not something we got.
Right.
And so, that's that. I wanted to buy it back because I'm going to be motivated. I'm going to be hungrier to help these guys. And it's definitely the case.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like for me, I'm a YouTuber, right? I don't really cover content unless I actually have skin in the game too. And now I'm like, what do I care? You know what I mean? So it's kind of like that too. I totally get where you're coming from as well. You know what I mean? So. But I did to ask though, so in the future, when you guys onboard these YouTubers, right? Obviously, you're gonna pay them some way, somehow. I mean, how would they get compensated? You know what I'm saying? Are they gonna get tokens? Are they gonna get like whatever BNBs or whatever's, or is it gonna be like just okay, like me, just come on organically?
We've not paid any YouTubers, and
no. I'm not saying now. I'm saying in the future, because eventually it's gonna drop, right? And you're gonna like, okay, we need more people for this and that.
Yeah, so all at this stage, basically all marketing, which has been the entire time, pretty much has been paid out of Shibtoshi's pocket.
Oh,
there was a very small period where we had a percentage of our taxes going to both liquidity and marketing, but
right.
It was a very small period of time, and then we ended up making the decision that we would prefer all of our taxes going to liquidity to try and beef that up.
Right.
So at this stage, basically all marketing, all exchanges, all of those things, previously and going forward, have been paid by Shibtoshi. So in terms of, that would apply for YouTubers as well.
Wow.
Yeah. With that said, we don't like to give out tokens too much because at the forefront of all this is protecting our investors. And if we give out big sums of money to a YouTuber, for instance, if we had done that 2 weeks ago when our market cap was just 3 million, crazy to think about. But if we'd done that 2 weeks ago, we'd give them out, maybe 20K worth of tokens.
Yeah.
So that guy would be sitting on like $250,000 right now, and he could be really harming us. So it can come back to bite you in the ass for sure if you give out tokens, and that's something we actually try to avoid, and instead just keep the tokens for getting onto larger exchanges or for staking, for example.
Okay. I'm just wondering because a lot of times you see it in the space here, right? These guys get like big old bags of tokens, and then after the video too, they finish it up, they just dump them out on the market, So I'm like, okay, in the future, are you guys doing the same thing, or just curious?
Definitely.
No,
which is exactly why we're avoiding that, I guess.
Yeah,
unfortunately, we're in a position where we are able to avoid that. A lot of other tokens, especially on the BSC, don't have that luxury. So we've been very lucky in that respect.
Okay, that's very good to know as an investor. For my own selfish reason, I want to know for myself. So that's all it really is. So I just asked. I figured you guys would tell me whatever you know. So I have to ask, why are you Shib? Why are you taking on a task to pay for all the marketing? I mean, we all know rich people are nice people, but you're being beyond generous here. I mean, what's the reason or rationale here? I mean, obviously, I don't think it could be your legacy, right? Because you're not doxing yourself. So I mean, what's the primary driver for all this? I mean, I just don't really get it. So maybe you can share some insight on this,
Okay, well, as we all know, with meme tokens, what launches meme tokens off? What blasts them off? It's marketing, it's funding, right?
Yeah, so I get that.
If a meme project doesn't have funding, you can have all the connections in the world, but if you don't have a way to actually utilize that and pay for it, you're gonna wither away and die.
Yep.
You know, in
Agreed.
this unique situation that I'm in, where you know I'm relatively connected and making new connections like the blockchain brothers. You know, I committed X amount of money to back my project, and at this current point, we've just rolled over $1.1 million that I've spent into the.
Hello.
Shib, you just
Yep.
dropped off.
You just kind of like
Sorry,
disappeared.
yeah, I was getting a phone call.
Oh, okay.
So as I was saying, you know, with paying for the marketing and the exchanges and everything that goes with that, you got to have money, and you can't rely on the volume of a project to fund that, because quite frankly, um, you know, unless you're like in the hundreds of millions of dollars in market cap and you've got a lot of volume going on, most projects don't generate enough money to bang out, you know, one exchange a month.
Right.
You know, I have my goals and my plans and my ambitions for this project, and the only way to achieve that is to personally back it. And I'm personally invested into it because I'm funding my own money into it. You know, this is something that I want to see succeed. And to
Okay.
touch base on something you kind of said earlier, I guess, I mean, yeah, I can't really say it's a legacy because I'm not Docs. But indirectly, it is a legacy, because when I create all this wealth for all these people, you know, in real life, and you know, and it's changing people's lives. It has changed people's lives currently, and will continue to do so. I've indirectly uh, made a legacy under Shibtoshi. You know, so um, I'm sure, you know, if and when the time ever comes, I can pull a Ryoshi, where you know now I've cemented my name, you know, in the concrete with, you know, a dev that's 100% committed, backing his own projects, making all the right choices for the growth of the community and for the small investors as well as big investors. And,
Right.
you know, I'm sure I'll have people that will join me on that journey if and when I ever choose to do that. Obviously,
Okay.
that's not something that is even in consideration right now. 100% of my attention is dedicated to Squidgrow. You know, me and RW and Dane, we are up extremely late hours until the sun comes up, you know, working on the project, in meetings, you know, planning our next moves.
Yep.
You know, but man, it's just, you know, crypto's changed my life in a
Okay.
lot of ways. And more so than that, you know, meme tokens. Meme tokens have amassed me a lot of life-changing money. And
Right.
although, you know, I've not pulled anything out of SHIB,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I have my reasons for that.
Sure.
But, you know, I can give the same opportunity to everybody that's invested in my project. I can take them on the same journey that I've gone on. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't preach diamond handing your bag and don't sell it, you know,
Yep.
so on and so forth. What I do preach is pulling profit gently in a way that doesn't hurt the smaller investors, you know. And this is something I've said over and over, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but think
Mm-hmm.
about that single mom that's invested her last $100, last $200 to try to put food on the table, or come up with money to pay rent. You know, think about her, who her sole purpose of investing into a crypto project is to, you know, make some quick money, you know. But if she, you know, invests that last dollar into the project, and somebody
Mm-hmm.
bigger than her or somebody that was in earlier than her
Right.
decides to, you know, pull pull profit in a disrespectful manner,
Yep.
like our whale did last week,
Yeah.
it can
800K, right?
definitely
Or something like that.
what's that?
800K or something, right? I believe.
Yep.
That wasn't very nice of him or her.
No, no, it definitely wasn't. But I mean, and that's just a prime example of, you know, when I've talked about polling slowly and price impact.
Yeah.
You know, you know, to maximize, you know, profit in this space, you pull slow. You don't rip like that. You know, it
Yeah.
beats everybody up. It tears the chart up. It caused panic. And for example, if that guy still had a, a bag, which he
Yep.
doesn't, he dumped his whole bag, and
Yep.
he caused a massive sell-off like he did. He's only
Yep.
shortchanging the other half of his bag. You
Yeah.
know, so you got to think about, you know, the other people in the project as well. It can't just all be about personal gain. And
Right.
I think that's a real issue in crypto projects. We've seen numerous projects
Mm-hmm.
that have been talked about during this AMA, where there's been mass sell-offs of like millions of dollars. And I go, you know,
Yeah.
think about that investor that just bought the top. and then just got dumped on and has forever been upside down. You know, I mean, there's respectful ways to go about it, and you know, that's what this is about. You know, it's taking people on the same journey that I embarked on over 2 years ago, and you know, it's actually a journey that I've been on since 2011, but you know, just the last 2 years have been extremely crazy. But you know, we build a strong foundation of community, which we are doing. I mean, my community is amazing, man. They're going out, they're shilling, they're spreading awareness of the project. I mean, they're such strong supporters, it's ridiculous. And it's deja vu to me. Like, I see like the early days of Shiba Inu all over again, and that is the look. Now, I'm not setting out to dethrone anybody or, you know, topple anybody's greatness, you know, but we are going to be the first Squid token to go to the top. I mean, that's what it's going to be.
What does the top mean or entail in your vision, Chip?
Okay, well,
what does that mean?
Not to give too much, just to touch base.
Whatever you want to share, obviously.
Obviously, you know, we're doing an awful lot of exchange listings, right?
Yeah.
In addition to that, I've personally hired one of the best market making services around in the game, and they support market making services for all top 50 of the exchanges in the world. Okay. So to list on an exchange, you have to have a market making service, and there's different calibers of market makers. And we hired CLS. We have a partnership with them. They're handling all our market making services.
CLS?
So CLS.
I see.
And just to touch base on that, they can handle market making on every exchange from 50 to 1. So if that kind of lets you know my ambition without saying much more than that.
Right. You said 50 to 1, right? And just to clarify, for the average viewer, they may not know what market making is, but market making is essentially, from my understanding, it's arbitraging the CEX with the DEX. Is that correct? And you kind of level the price. Is that what you're paying for?
So,
Dane, you want to touch on that?
Sure. So it entails that. You nailed it, John. So it keeps the price matched across multiple exchanges.
Yeah.
Not only that, it keeps the order books full. So if anybody here has only traded in DeFi, they won't really know what I mean by that. But if you ever go on a centralized exchange, you'll see an order book on both sells and buys that tells you all the different orders that are live that are placed at a certain value. And so the market making will basically fill that book so that if someone wants to come on there and buy 50K or sell 50K, there'll be enough orders on there to actually fill that for them. Without market making, basically on a centralized exchange, the internal trends.
It's all internal. Because that makes sense. Because even right now, when I look at say L Bank,
keeping it functional, keep volume thick.
Sorry, Dan, you kind of
can you hear me, John?
Chop right there. I can hear you now. But before it kind of chopped up halfway, I'm like, what?
Yeah, you were jumping in and out.
I'll let someone else take the floor for a minute. I'm going to a rough area.
Okay.
Yeah, my fault. Someone else go. I think this connection is enough minute.
Okay.
He's just driving at the moment. Hey, John.
You were about to talk about L Bank, I believe. So let's pick that up.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, for the average viewer here, just to kind of see what I'm saying here, if you go L Bank or MEXC, the current CEX, like the list Squid here, right? You're gonna see a price difference. Say one's like 0.4, the other one's like 0.3. So this is kind of where the market making service or CLS comes in, and they kind of make the price the same way or the same thing across the board between PancakeSwap and all of them. So I mean, I can see right now it's currently not, I guess, market made currently. It just kind of they're just all independent right now. And do you guys know when this is gonna go into effect? This market making service, or is it going to be done the world or something? Or
they're already onboarded to every exchange. You have to have your market making services debuted at the time of launch. So obviously every exchange can trade at a slightly different price. So I mean, there's always an opportunity for arbitraging. And so what they ensure is essentially that the prices don't fall out of sync by a certain percentage.
Makes sense.
And I won't give those percentages out, but
no worries.
They keep a tight gap. You know, obviously if somebody goes to say L Bank and dumps 60K in tokens, obviously the price is going to fall. But what market making does is then they kick in and they bring that price back up.
Mhm.
So when it does fall out of sync, they bring it back up to the specified parameters relatively quickly.
Yeah,
Like
makes sense.
I'd say about maybe 2.5 weeks ago, we had a big sell off on Bitmark, and
Mhm.
the price over there was about $1.3 million lower than where it was on PancakeSwap. Great
Yeah.
arbitrage opportunity.
Yep.
Buy cheaper on Bitmark, and
Dump it
wait
on.
for yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
And
Dump on Dex. I got you.
exactly. So I mean, we can't stop arbitrage 100%, nor do I
Yeah.
want to. I personally love arbitraging. It's a great opportunity for the everyday investors, and
Right.
a lot of people have made a lot of money
Mhm.
arbitraging. I'm not going to really name drop, but there's a name that comes to mind that he made millions of dollars a day arbitraging from the Chinese market to the American market. And
Mhm.
he was kind of the pioneer of the whole arbitrage thing, as far as I'm concerned, because I've not heard about arbitraging until he made it a thing. But
Right.
yeah, so essentially it's not market making services aren't made to make it like an exact 1-to-1
Yeah.
across the exchanges. They just
Close enough.
keep it tight.
Yeah.
They're also required by every major exchange. You can't just skip that. You have to have a good one to be able to maintain your price action the way you want and to produce that volume that people expect to see on a token. For instance, if you
Mhm.
go to KuCoin or Binance and you see a dead token that hasn't been traded in like a
Yeah.
day, are you going to buy it? Do you really want to buy that? Like when there's zero demand? No. And so market making keeps your volume healthy by kind of giving the illusion to some investors at times,
Yeah.
but also bringing them investors in because it's more attractive.
Right. So I had a question also, since there's a market making service, CLS or whatever. So obviously they're arbitraging, right? So they're obviously making money off of this. So where do those profits go exactly? Do they vanish into the CLS company or?
Yeah, so that's the cool thing about the market making companies is we control the accounts. So Satoshi's in control of each of the exchange accounts where the market makers operate on. Also, withdrawals are disabled, so they cannot take money or siphon money out. Not only that, but CLS provides a dashboard that keeps track of everything as far as how much profit you've made in your liquidity pool or how much you have lost. So it makes it all simple for you and keeps it all nice and organized so that you can see what's happening in real time on all your exchanges.
Oh, I see. So for profits, they stay within Squidgrow, or do they?
Yes,
Always.
profits,
Kind of broke a little bit, so I catch everything.
yeah, the profits go pretty much to liquidity.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, that's cool. So I had a question also. I see you guys listing on a bunch of CEX, and the goal here is to go to, I guess, a bunch more CEX here, right? But obviously you're doing this for a reason here. I'm assuming the end goal is to go to, say, maybe like Gate.io or like Binance, the top dogs. So I'm assuming right now you're gonna like.
I've never heard of those names ever. That's a name
My
I've
bad.
never heard of.
My bad.
That's new to me.
I'm fucking crazy. Sorry.
Definitely, John. We've discussed it before, and like obviously, we don't give away what's coming in the future, but
No worries.
we have announced to the community the reasons, obviously, that we are listing on so many of the obviously lower tiers originally and now tier twos, but as we have explained in other AMAs and to the community, the overall goal of listing on these exchanges at the moment is that we have an overall volume that comes from all of our sexes and obviously PancakeSwap as well. And when you can get a certain amount of volume coming together from all of the different places that we are listed, then yes, we can get looked at for different tier one exchanges as well. So
I see.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
projects that don't have that volume output, so it's a huge part of it to make sure that we have those volume thresholds that they're seeking, as well as when the bull market comes back, so many people will be exposed to that token because they'll see it pumping on their favorite exchange. For instance, BitTrue is our latest one. We haven't gone live yet, but we just announced that's an exchange that the XRP Army constantly frequents. And so just exposing our project to different demographics and sectors of the market is huge, but also you have to have a sort of base volume to even be considered for those tier ones that you mentioned. With that said, though, tier ones are definitely on the menu for us. They are more than on the menu. They're currently being kind of analyzed. So
I'm definitely super hungry. I'm definitely hungry.
May I ask, obviously you don't answer or not, but what is your target volume, say, by the end of August, and then say the end of the year? You know, I mean, do you have like a certain roadmap? Like, you know what, this month we're hitting 10 mil. You know, next month like whatever 15 mil. You know, is there any kind of like, you know, soft goals in your head? Obviously, not hard written down anywhere, but like, guys, we gotta do this. You know what I'm saying? This is our goal. You know, like those kind of things.
Yeah, for me, it's 10 million. I know
Okay.
particular that's a big milestone for a lot of tier ones they look at. I would like to not only hit 10 million, but be able to hold it on a day-to-day basis. And during a market like this, that's pretty amazing. And so
I would
that's
agree.
more of a short-term goal. Long-term, I'd like to get up to altcoin levels where you see, you know, the top 50, top 75 tokens. You see those crazy volumes that they output.
Yeah.
The actual number changes, but it's pretty crazy when you try to look, when you actually take into account how many people are trading those tokens. But
Yeah.
I think that type of volume will come with a change in market sentiment, and
Yeah.
and getting on these exchanges will allow us to move with Bitcoin as opposed to being isolated away from it in DeFi
Right.
when that market does come back and for the good.
Gotcha. Well, so I had a question for Shib here. So he mentioned that he has not sold any of his Shib tokens in his wallet or whatever, right? He separated into 8 different wallets or whatever it is. So if you haven't taken any profits in Shib, but now you're creating your own, I guess, Squidgrow token here, right? But you're saying you're not trying to overtake or, you know, topple anyone over, you know what I mean? But I mean, in a way, it sounds like you are trying to be the next Shib or next Dogecoin in a sense. I mean, if you know, if this is a meme token, like you know, you guys are saying here, so in a sense, it's kind of like, okay, I have my money here in Shib token, actual Shib Inu here, but I don't want to topple them, you know, per se. But if Squidgrow, a new token that I created here, and I'm bankrolling it, I want to succeed. By definition, it's going to have to, I would say, overpass and overshadow Shiba Inu in the long term, or at least that's what I would be trying to do if I was Shib, you know. So I'm just kind of curious. You know?
I disagree, and there's plenty of room at the top that can be shared. So you don't have to come out and say one's better than the other. Everybody's going to have their own opinion. You know, I'm a very strong supporter of the Shib Army. I mean, I've supported them since day one. So I'm not trying to, you know, dethrone everybody because, you know, I'm extremely loyal to Shib. I would never do anything or say anything to hurt them in any way, shape, or form.
I get that.
You know, but with that being said, I think there's plenty of room at the top. I don't think it's one's better than the other. I think it comes down to an opinion. You know, there might come a time where one has a higher market cap, higher liquidity, more holders, but you know, who's the best? You know, that's up to everybody has their own opinion on it, you know, because you can have all these different aspects of a project.
Sure.
But, you know, somebody could think that one's better than the other. So it comes down to opinion. But, you know, as I said, you know, we're going to be the first Squid token. You know, we're going to be the first Squid token at the top. And, you know, I know I've not really touched base on what I mean as far as the top, but hopefully I've hinted in the direction of where we're going. We've also, you know, dropped the news of the Ethereum bridge. The Ethereum bridge is done. We are currently just waiting for ETH2 to come out before, you know, we are attached to it in case there happens to be some kind of dumping going on. You know, I don't want to be attached to anything that's going to draw my project down or hurt my community in any way, shape, or form. You know, with that being said, you know, definitely making the moves that need to be made. But, you know, just because we're trying to come on to another giant's network doesn't mean that, you know, I'm gunning for them. You know, there's plenty of room at the top. There's plenty to go around. You know, so I'm just Squid's going to be the first, you know, but there's plenty of room.
There was always this thing, like when Shib came out, they were always going to be like the Doge killer, and they had all this like competitive stuff going on. And they're 2 meme tokens, but you know, they're 2 like dog meme tokens as well. And that's something that we've tried to not the dog thing, but we've tried to separate ourselves from the whole, you know, we're going to be the Shiba killer or whatever it is. We've never said that, and that's not our mission. You know, we've always just said that we are Squidgrow. We're the first and only Squidgrow, and that's just what we plan to be. We plan to take Squidgrow to the top, not for the purpose of being the Shib killer or the Doge killer or anything like that.
Right. Well, I guess when I said it, I wasn't trying to say you're trying to be the killer here, but to me, what I see here is you guys are just a meme token. Regardless if your mascot's a bird or Mario Brothers, whatever, to me you're still a meme token right here, right?
Yeah.
So my point is that if Shiba has all his big old bag and Shiba Inu right here, right? So I'm just saying by definition, if he's creating another meme token here, regardless of the mascot, and if it goes to the top, what does it mean for? Of course, the top could be arbitrary, right? Because you don't want to say I'll be top 100 and you don't get there. So I get why you're not saying that. But my point is that if you want to go to the top, eventually, we know who are the top dogs, right? So and when I say I guess topple them, I don't necessarily mean like you're better or worse than them. All I mean is that in terms of market cap. So say for example, you go to CMT.com here, right? I'm gonna see one day Squid like top 15 or whatever, you know what I mean? And that's kind of how you determine if this is a really like legit token or not. Not about it's better or worse, but it's here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I was getting at, really.
Yeah,
like, you're better or worse.
I can definitely see what you're saying there for sure. And I guess it's all about perspective. Hey.
Yeah.
My personal goal is to get into the top 10 and to get on every major tier 1 exchange, all of them.
Right.
That's something that I've always wanted to do with every project I've come on board with and have never succeeded. And so it's like a dream for me to make that happen. And I feel like this has potential for that.
I think so too, because the community is very vibrant for what it is. It's kind of small right now, but it is super active. I'm like, what's going on in here? It's like the Telegram just messages like everywhere. I'm like, wow, what are you guys doing?
You have to believe you can do it. You have somebody in the project if you're capable of it. You can't just think it in the background. You've got to like walk the walk, talk the talk. You've got to put it out there, make it a real thing. And I think all these guys in the project have that same belief in that. And it's not just something we say; it's something that we truly want to manifest. Sure. And we're going to be with this project for as long as it takes. We realize that to get to that point takes time. It took time for Sheep, and it will take time for us most likely. But we'll be there every step of the way to do our best to get it there. Right.
And also, I mean, if this project gets larger and larger and larger, and you guys create more utility, you're saying like, utility number 4 release and this and that. I mean, eventually, I'm gonna have to assume that eventually Sheep will no longer bankroll all the dev and stuff, right? Eventually, it'll go towards the actual community and project to kind of pave the way forward, or just going to be like indefinitely, irregardless of what happens. Sheep will always bankroll the marketing, the deving, and all that kind of good stuff.
I will always be there to help when the project needs to be helped. The first time, as RDub mentioned, there was a very brief period of time where we changed the tax where a percentage was going to liquidity and another percentage was going to marketing. That was actually encouraged by our whales. We tried that out. I don't remember the amount of time, but we put out an announcement. We had made the change, and in my opinion, to have a successful project, you need thick liquidity. Without thick liquidity, it allows your project to get beat up relatively quickly. And it just kind of felt like I was taking from the project and the community. So we decided to go back to 100%. And as I said, when I set out on this path that I'm on currently, I knew it was going to take money, and I was fully committed and willing to back it. So if we get to a point where say the project, we decide to change it up with the tax and some of it goes to marketing, the marketing wallet can maybe pay for smaller things, but I'm always going to be there to pay for the big things like the exchanges, development, things like that. You know what I mean? It's not going to be a thing where if the project doesn't have the marketing funds to list on an exchange and it's something I want to do, it's SOL. No, I'm gonna step up, as I've done. I'm running this project through the eyes of an investor, and that's kind of why I come back to under promise over deliver, because I'm sure most of the people listening now can't stand it when a dev team says, hey, we're going to do X, Y, and Z, and we're going to do it on this date, and this date comes and goes, and things don't happen. You can't predict market change or things that come up in real life. Like, let's say a developer is going to come out with this utility, and for whatever reason he happens to get sick and is unable to finish up the code in time. Well, if you told your community you're going to have this utility on this date and then it's not delivered, the community is kind of going to lose trust. within the project, even if you have a great explanation, you know.
Yep.
So, you know, for me personally, that's a pet peeve of mine. So that's why I've taken the stance that I have. And as I said a little earlier,
Yeah.
you know, although I am the owner, I'm running it as a investor. You know, what do I want to see as an investor? And some of our investors might not understand the, you know, might not understand like the true reasoning of all these exchange listings. You know, what's the purpose of them? Is it going to help the pancake swap liquidity? Is it going to boost the chart? You know, you got to plan for the bigger picture. You know what I mean? And
Takes time.
the long-term goal. Yeah. So everything that you're seeing now, currently this last week, has already been in the works for weeks.
Yeah.
You know, these conversations with these different exchanges we're listing, we've already been in conversation with them for an extremely long time. So, I mean, it's all about pre-planning. And as I said earlier, this is a game of chess. This ain't checkers.
Right. Got you. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Obviously, it makes sense because things don't happen overnight, right? It takes time.
That's right.
You know, takes time even for them to do their stuff. Okay. Makes a lot of sense. Wow.
Let me add to that real quick, John. I've said this before. I like saying it. I think it's true. Every project has an X factor, and X factor can be many things. But in the case of Satoshi, the X factor that I see in some of the most successful meme coins is they have a very larger than life leader that kind of takes them out of the dark times. A lot of times, like for instance, Doge and Elon. Doge is terrible, but all of a sudden Elon announces something at Tesla, and then it goes crazy. Yeah. And then you had Saber and Floki, right? Saber was a large leader that would just get in the chat and rage and talk, about the project and how he truly felt and people motivated. You had Vitalik and ETH, right? You've got Ryoshi and Shiba, right? And it's not a coincidence that this is happening with these bigger projects. People rally behind leaders. That's human nature, and I'm very happy we have that here with Squidgrow, because I truly believe that's a huge X factor in projects. Because when things go wrong in a project, for instance, a project needs somebody to blame. They need somebody to come and talk to them. They need somebody to believe in. And if you don't have that, and you have some guy behind a keyboard hiding and not talking to you and not telling you what's up, and something goes wrong, you're not going to trust that. Why would you trust that? But Satoshi constantly goes into the chat, engages with our community. It tells real stories. You can tell he's a real dude, genuine guy. The way he's handled certain instances where we've had problems in the project in the past, for instance, with lottery, reimbursing people when certain things have gone wrong to them individually when he didn't have to. You see this often again. And I think it's a testament to a good leader when you see him actually looking after his own like that. And I also believe that it's an ingredient that is necessary to get to those levels of the other projects I mentioned. I mean, even Bitcoin, who do they have? Satoshi, right? Every major big project has someone. Charles Hoskinson, Cardano, right? We like Justin Sun, Tron, right? We can go on and on about these leaders. I'm not going to say Do Kwon. I was going to say Do Kwon.
Yeah, let's not touch base on that one.
It's okay, man. You can name drop. It's all good.
For a while, it was working.
Until he started siphoning off about $40 million a day, stealing from his community.
Yeah.
Wow,
So,
I thought his paycheck, huh? That's interesting. I mean, so okay, so it sounds like you guys are just Switzerland, right? Kumbaya, everything is cool. We have room for everyone, but in reality, though, who or what would be your closest competitor?
Oh man, he's good. You see how he changed up the wording on that? Damn, Jack.
What's up, guys? I'm sorry. If you don't answer, don't worry. We're just talking here. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't answer, no worries. I won't even trip.
Oh, a closest competitor. That's a good question. There's not really a lot of them right now. I would say a closest competitor for me to view him as a competitor is not someone that's been in the space for like a year or roughly that time. I would think that it's someone that's emerged recently in the time of that we've been around, and so I haven't really seen many. I feel like we sort of are a trendsetter when it comes to meme coins, and a kind of an outlier with the market cap that we touch, which is 50 million in this time frame. I mean, I saw Cloud Chat get up there. We saw Quint hit $1 billion, but they messed with their supply a little bit, so it kind of inflated it. We haven't really seen any projects break out. So, we've seen a lot of copies. Of course, we're not going to get that many shout outs because I don't think they're worthy to even call competitors. But we're looking up to the big dogs, to see what they've done, and sort of following their model and taking it and improving on it. So we don't really view anyone around us currently as competition. To be honest with you, we're just focusing so much on ourselves that we don't have time to.
I would agree. And, to give you like a little bit of insight and to be totally honest with you, this is not a conversation that we have ever had in terms of like just us as a team, like, who are we worried about? Who are our competitors? It's actually not something that Shibtoshi and Dane and I have ever discussed in the background. So I think that gives a little bit of insight as well to the fact that we are completely focused at the moment on Squidgrow, and, we don't actually have our eyes on anything else that's happening outside of Squidgrow at all.
We don't. We even make it a point to never talk about other projects. Like, for instance, if someone tries to partner with us and we don't want to, we don't come out and say we're not partnering with this person, because we understand that any publicity that we give to another project can actually help them. At the same time, we also think that it would be great if we saw more competition, because a healthy meme coin market and competition means that we're starting to see more bullish sentiment in the market. So I'm looking forward to the fact, to the point where a competitor starts to rise up or even pass us, because they're gonna, it's gonna create that pull to get the casuals back into the market. So I hope it happens more often. But
I'm prepared to take my boots off and put my running shoes on if need be, and I'm pretty quick.
Okay. Well. I guess when I said, but see, the thing is, when I asked you a question here, right? You're saying, okay, we're looking at so and so like Cloud Chat or Quint. We're looking at other people here, right, to see what they're doing and to see what is successful. So when I say competitor or any close competition here, I don't mean like literally like you're neck and neck, but you're saying, okay, what's out there right now? What's working? What's not working? And you know what? I see this guy doing this right here. So hey, Dane, why don't you keep your eyeballs on this guy here and see where it goes up, where it pans out in a month or two, and see if we can integrate that process or that strategy into our end game. So that's kind of what I'm kind of getting at, really more like, what do you guys use for inspiration? It can't just be all you guys right here. You know what? You're just brainstorming everything. I mean, the thing is, everyone copies each other in the DeFi space. That's just how it works. I mean, I've seen it. Everyone, they all copy, but then they relabel it with something else. So I'm just like, saying, hey guys, who do you guys look for inspiration? I guess maybe that's a better way to say, I guess.
Yeah, I can speak to a few of them. Each meme coin that has had a lot of success has done something that I think the others hasn't.
Exactly.
For me, going back to the Floki conversation, I knew them very well. They did a lot of things that no one else did, and the things that they did was they started marketing to casuals in a big way. They got into airports, they got with sports teams, they got with Formula One race cars, et cetera, et cetera. They started doing stuff that even exchanges weren't doing at the time. Yeah. And so I think they opened people's eyes to the fact that, whoa, like, there's other things besides Doge and Shiba emerging out of the shadows that are doing huge moves. Yeah. And so now a lot of other tokens start doing that. I like to think that we're outside the box thinkers, very similar to Floki. And some of the things that we have coming in the future will be unique to the space in both the marketing standpoint as well as the utility standpoint, and what we're actually going to bring to the table. And I think that for me, doing something different as opposed to just following what everybody else does is how you sort of break yourself away from that pack. We've already done that and spoken on Shibtoshi. How many projects do you know that started their own meme, from a billionaire that comes into the space of BSC and starts a project? Right. Like, that's an X factor, but we're going to add some other ones. And I think those will be the things that separate us, is when people see us doing things that others aren't, not just following that blueprint, as you mentioned. Yeah.
I guess I can see that for you guys too, because this is literally the first one I've seen where the owner bankrolls everything. I'm like, wait, what? Is this real? At first I was skeptical, I'm not gonna lie. But now, hearing talk more and the project. Sorry?
It is crazy. That concept is a crazy thing. It's the first time I've seen it as well. And it has its ability to carve a new path. Like, the things that we have planned, they're not things that I've seen planned anywhere else from anyone in this meme coin space. So yeah, I think that's going to be the difference maker for us, is just break away from the norm some. You have to do the traditional crypto marketing as well. You have to go on exchanges. You have to go on ads. You have to try to do things like that, because you need people, you need audience, you need PR articles, you need to do content giveaways. Everybody does that. That's part of it. But you can also sort of change it and learn from others.
Okay, that's pretty cool. I mean, I can't really see too many people actually doing this in the future, following the whole Shibtoshi model. So I mean, this is going to be one of those like, okay, maybe the first and last of its kind for a long time. Because generally speaking here, right? At least in the stock world where I come from, if you get rich, it's because you're ruthless in the stock market. You're either shorting down the stock to nothing or you're playing options. But the point is you're ruthless though. So to see this kind of thing happen is kind of like, is this real? And I was one of the people at first too. I'm like, nah, this can't be real, dude. There's no way someone is bankrolling this thing just because of the kindness of their heart here, right? It doesn't make any sense to me because people don't get rich by giving it away. They get rich by taking it and sucking it in, right? So I mean, and I always see the argument saying, hey, so how do you know if Sheep is really like who he really says he is, right? Like, oh yeah, well, we've seen his wallet before. That's cool. But I mean, like, that doesn't really, like, I guess, proof to me per se. For me, proof would be something like, okay, if SHIB could, like, say, move one SHIB token to another SHIB token from one of the, like, big SHIB wallets, to me, that's, like, undeniable proof. And that would shut up every single person who would doubt, Shibtoshi for being who he truly is. That's just how I see it. But obviously, you guys let me know how wrong I am or whatever,
Yeah, so I actually heard you say that in one of your first videos. And in my personal opinion, there's a time and place for that when the audience is right.
Sure.
I mean, up until this point, I've done what I could. I've done what I was comfortable with. I've gone a little above and beyond, in my opinion, showing my positions in certain cryptocurrencies. So obviously, backtracking when I split my wallet up, I was tired of getting dusted. I was tired of these NFT drops. Just malicious things. So when you surface, a whale wallet, and I'm sure every whale and any project that's decent deals with this issue as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of malicious activity because everybody wants what you have.
Agreed.
So I mean, I'm gonna tell you now, I'm absolutely not opposed to it. We've actually talked about that. The time and the place is correct audience. I don't have an issue with that. You know what I mean? So
can I say something on that, Shibtoshi? So the correct timing of it is massive. It's something, if we were to do that, which is certainly on the table, you want a huge audience when it happens.
I get it.
And for us, that audience is going to come on the ETH bridge. We have an ETH bridge coming up shortly after or right around the time ETH 2 comes into fruition is when we plan to push on the ETH. So, I mean, that would coincide perfectly with marketing our fundraising for that liquidity on the ETH side, right? That would be a move that we would certainly explore there.
Okay. Yeah, and obviously, obviously I'm just a guy on YouTube. I ask questions, I talk, I keep it real. So, hopefully none of these questions make you guys feel uncomfortable or anything, but that's just how I am. So.
I was waiting for that question. I saw you speak on that in one of your early videos.
No, I like that you ask different questions that are actually require more thought, because like we've done like 8 AMAs and a lot of times it's just generic. I like that you're getting into some of the more meat and potato questions that people want to know or are scared to ask when they come to our AMA, perhaps.
For me, like I said, I'm an investor for myself, so I want to know as an investor, what I'm saying. But I get where you're coming from. It makes sense, and obviously, I didn't expect this would go anywhere, obviously. But I mean, for me, I'm all about privacy myself. But you're like, wait, you're on YouTube though. But yeah, I get that part. But what I mean is like privacy in terms of my wallet. So even though I buy stuff, I never really disclose my positions because of the very reason of SHIB here, right? He mentioned people always want to target you for this and that. Obviously, I'm not a SHIB wallet here, but the point being is that same ideas though. It just carries over to the principle.
Hey, John, let me ask you this. How did you first hear about us? Because obviously, I know you have some mutual people that I know on a personal level.
Absolutely.
That's the first time that I heard about you. But I'm curious to kind of know the story on how you heard about us and how you heard about me. And
Well, I talk to Raymond every now and then from Reflex, right? We talk every now and then and everything. He said, hey, dude, check this out. I'm like, oh, I looked at it. I was like, this can't be real, bro. Like the story, for me, it just didn't make any sense to me. I was like, what? So I'm always a skeptic in a crypto, especially DeFi, because I've been rug pulled on more than one occasion. Always just drinking Kool-Aid right away and believing it. So now I'm kind of like that girlfriend who's been hurt. So now I'm more like, wait, I don't know. Let me see. So with that being said, once I saw that, once I did, I guess, more of my homework and I kind of went deeper into it, I was like, okay, I can see where this is going here. And worst case scenario, again, Sheep, don't take any offense to it. It's just my opinion. I'm just saying, you know what? Maybe this is all a hoax. It just, BS. And you know what? At the very worst case, you go for the play and you ride the momentum as a trader. But now, as I went deeper and deeper into it, I'm like, okay, I could see it as being kind of more real now. You know, I mean, after speaking to you in person, you know, and this and that, I'm changing my tone of voice because you sound like a legit guy, and obviously I don't know who you are in real life, but you can tell. It's like when you call someone on the phone here, right? You can hear a smile through the phone. So you don't, well, and what I mean here is like you sound legit, you know what I mean? So with that being said, I'm like, all right, I'm kind of drinking Kool-Aid now, in a sense, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely noticed the difference between your first video when you talked about us and your second video. And I talked to Ray about it, who I know personally in real life. I was just with him this past weekend, at the NFT convention. But you know, we talked about you, and you know, I finally got around to watching some of your videos. And your first video, I was like, okay, all right, yeah, he's skeptic. There's nothing wrong with that. In your second video, you were like so stoked on it, like you know, you had already. It sounded like you had already you know, made some profit, and that's what it's about. But I definitely, as you said, drinking the Kool-Aid, and I was just kind of curious if it came from Ray or not, because when I spoke to Ray about it the first time, I believe I spoke to him at about a 400K market cap, you know, and I've known Ray and them for a while now, but it was later that day that we actually touched 2 million for the first time.
Wow.
And you know, it was pretty incredible thing. You know, obviously, you know, in this market, you can never kind of predict where it's going to go, you know, how the investors are going to react to certain things in the space. Bitcoin drops, everybody panics, you know, you can't predict that stuff, you know, but what I can tell you and what I can tell my community is regardless of what goes on in the market, I'm still fully backing the project. You know, when we had that sell off the other day, although, you know, it was a kick in the stomach, it didn't change anything for me personally or the team. You know, it wasn't going to change what we were going to roll out that week. The amount of money that I was transferring into the account changes nothing. Because at the end of the day, as of now, I've got 11,000 investors that are dependent on me to continue to deliver and continue to make everybody gains. And I mean, obviously in the crypto space, everybody jumps into crypto to make money. And
absolutely, that's the main thing.
You know, I mean, exactly. And you know, some people say, well, why you? What do you stand to gain from it? You know, it's a gift to be able to give people a means to be able to take care of themselves and their family, man. I mean, it's
I hear you.
I mean, it brings. For you. So I'm a very charitable person in real life, and I don't know if Ray's talked to you about that, but I do a lot of charitable things in real life, and that makes me you know, it's my way of giving back. It puts a smile on my face because you know. And I'll say this, although I'm the ship billionaire, I don't have $1 billion in my bank account. I've got a lot of millions, but you know, it's still more money than I can spend in a lifetime. You know, and you know, I didn't work for that money. I didn't. You know, I stressed over it. I lost sleep over it. You know, I've lost some relationships over it, but you know, I didn't, you know, cut my knuckles up and sweat over it. And you know, it's kind of easy come, easy go. And if anybody that knows me in real life, when they're referring to, you know, my Sheb wallet or whatever, I call it monopoly money. You know, I mean, it's just until it's fiat in your bank account, it comes and goes. I mean, I've seen my portfolio swing hundreds of millions of dollars. You know, I mean, it you know, and it never really desensitizes you in any way. You know, it still sucks. But you know, you got to just take the mindset of, you know, it's monopoly money. I mean, that's exactly what I'd say. You know, but with that being said, that monopoly money can be fiat money and change a lot of lives. You know, so I mean, this isn't about a charity, you know, giving money away, pumping millions of dollars into my chart. But what I can do is I can back my project, and I can set everybody on the same path and on the same journey that I went down myself when we had a lot less from our dev. And you know, I can, you know, essentially, you know, bring everybody to the water, but you know, I can't force them to drink. You know, if they want to sell, that's up to them. You know, I don't tell anybody what to do with their investments. You know, when I do get on the topic of profit pulling, I just ask they do it respectfully. But at the end of the day, I got zero say over it. You know, I mean, it's if you've got $1 million in a project, you want to rip it now, you're going to shortchange yourself. There's going to be price impact, but it's yours to do that. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
I'll be here at the end of the day to pick up the pieces and rebuild, and it's not going to stop anything for me because I'm going to keep getting it.
There
Guys,
you
so
go.
for anybody doubting Satoshi still, I know it sounds crazy. It's an absolutely insane story.
does.
I love to talk about other things in the project, but it's such an amazing thing that it also
Yeah.
becomes our centerpiece. So at this point, we embrace it. And for anyone doubting Satoshi and who he is, and if he's real, and if he really does have that much money, et cetera, just know that he is a real person. And the reason you know he's a real person is because we just got listed on 4 exchanges that require institutional KYC verification. That means he sent in his passport, his government ID. We've had legal registration for our company, which also requires even more thorough vetting to get that legal registration. You're talking employer verification, you're talking attorney notarized, all that stuff, birth certificates, social security, crazy, you name it. All that stuff is required to get the company registered in the areas we have, right? So with that said, you know, you were not getting to become, for instance, a Bitmart institutional verified individual like we are, right? We're an institutionally verified project, and that means Satoshi's put his neck on the line to get that. And then same thing with all those other exchanges. You have to have someone giving their ID over, and in our case, it's been Satoshi every time. I've witnessed it. We've all seen it, and perhaps there'll come a day when the public can see it. But with that said, you know, I completely understand why Satoshi does not want to do that. And you know, getting into some more dark matters. You know, I believe the crime of the future, when everybody is in crypto and has all their money in their pocket, is no longer going to be robbing banks. It's going to be robbing individuals who are known to have a large amount of crypto. All right, that because you're walking around as a bank. That's what you are. You're now the bank. So,
Agreed.
you know, if someone puts a gun to your head and says, "Give me all your money, or I'm going to kill you," right? And they're looking for either notoriety or they're looking for your money, and so they're gonna then that becomes a real security threat. So if I was in Satoshi's shoes, or if you were, ask yourself, would you do it? I wouldn't, man. I don't want that hanging around me and be scared to walk around my neighborhood or anything like that. You know, looking behind me and see if there's a car coming. You know, that's the type of things I think you have to worry about when you have a lot of money like that. You've got to be secure. Like, there's a reason why the billionaires of the world, the celebrities, the VIP politicians walk around with an armed entourage, because they're worth tons. They're worth so much money. You know, the money people kill for far less. Put it that way.
I get you. I mean, but at
and
the same time,
real quick on that topic, guys, and it's a real thing. Although I didn't personally know this guy, a real good friend of mine had a very good friend that was killed for a lot less of his crypto wallet, where he was shot point blank when he could not transfer his cryptocurrency to this person that was trying to rob him. He was shot and killed, left behind 2 kids and a wife. Like, it's very serious. It's a very real thing. And not only for myself, I've got family. You know, God forbid somebody tries to kidnap one of my loved ones and ransom them for crypto money. You know, it's a direct link. You know, I mean, I've talked about it to the team. You know, hey, at X market cap, what do you think about me coming out doxing? It's a bad idea. And it's not that, you know, I don't want to show face and, you know, embrace it and, you know, have that true legacy. You know what I mean? But it's a security. I'm not trying to hide from anything. You know, as Dane said, I'm institutionally verified and I am in the United States. So you best believe if I do anything funny, because I'm a U.S. citizen and I am listed on a bunch of exchanges, do you think the exchange is going to protect me when the U.S. government comes knocking, asking for my documentation? No, they're not going to protect me at all. They just as quickly, you know, give my information out and I'd be locked up in jail. You know, I'm not going to chance that. That's not what this is about. For a very long time, I funded this project with more money than we ever had in any one time in liquidity. And that stands currently right now. I've spent more money out of pocket than we currently have in liquidity. Why would somebody do that? Because I truly believe in my project and I truly am just trying to give something back to the community and make life-changing money for everybody. You know what I mean? Like, you know, obviously the sooner you would have got in, you know, like if you would have got in day one, you would have seen 2,000 X's at the $2 million market cap, you know? You know, I mean, that's life-changing money, you know, but there's still a lot of money to be made in this project. We are just getting going, and I've got the funding. I've got the connections. Like, we're going to get it. I've got my plans. I'm going to deliver this, to my opinion, to the top with or without the support of my community. You know, obviously it's more enjoyable if I have supporters, and I have people to go along the ride with me, and I quite enjoy my community. I conversate with them all the time. I'm always answering DMs. Some know me on a little better level than others, but it's a family we're building here, man. It's I'm not going to say a movement because that's kind of a big statement, but we're doing our part to spread awareness, of the right and the wrong way in crypto, and not only just investing in our project. We get into a lot of talks of, what to look for in crypto projects before you invest, how to avoid, honeypots and scams, like it's not just about, just invest in my project, it's spreading awareness, it's learning the things that, it's sharing what I've learned in my time in the space.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. But quick question though, not to pivot, but before I heard of Dane or you mentioned that you guys do have companies established here, right? So where are these companies established? At? Is it in the States? Is it out of the country? Or,
Oh, Dane, he's good. Dane, I'll let you. Touch
I'm just
base
curious. If you don't want to say it, don't feel. You could say I don't want to say it. No
I
big deal.
don't want to say it if Satoshi's not comfortable saying where the company is registered, because I don't want people going to search for newly registered companies and then finding.
It's totally fine. Like I said, it is a question. If you don't want to answer, don't worry about it. It's all good.
Yeah, I'd say for that one, let's just skip just for security protocol, because it was newly registered, so that would give people potentially an in to go and look for those.
No worries, I totally understand. But as a interview, I just got a question that come to my head. That's where it comes to my head.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well,
to get on a lot of these exchanges, you have to be registered. You know what I mean? So
right, sure.
I can tell you, it's not on an island. It's not on some random tiny island that nobody knows the name of. It's a legitimate business hub, in a very, very successful country, and so we'll leave it at that. It's not.
Okay.
Not hidden away somewhere like on Gibraltar Straits or like off the coast of Africa. It's
right.
So we're good.
Sounds like Dubai to me, but okay. Sounds like Dubai, but it's all good. I hear you saying that. I totally get that. Well, as far as I'm concerned, I don't really have any more questions today. And unless you guys want to share anything, any bombshells toward the end, you want to share, or
yeah, I mean, we may have a few besides.
Okay.
Let's see.
Bombshells. Yes.
I got one. I'm sure that you guys know. BitTrue is about to announce this officially on their Twitter. That should hopefully generate some more hype. I'm excited for that one. The other thing, I'll create a little bit of hype here without giving away too much.
There you go.
We're in talks with 5 tier 1 exchanges currently in the group chats. So we have 5 group chats open, and they're all top 10 exchanges. We're conversating with each one of them, getting things in line, you could say. There's no estimate as far as the time for anyone that's ever been in a project and has had tier 1s teased. You should understand that these things have no timeline on them. It's whenever they want to add you. The difference between a tier 1 and a tier 3, and let's just use something like LBank, for instance. If you run a project, you've probably gotten a message from LBank before asking if you want to list. You will never get those for KuCoin or for Binance or for Coinbase or for Huobi. You will never get that stuff, right? Because they don't have listing agents like that. They have a singular listing department often, and they list you when you apply, if they like you and if they select you after you present everything to them that they request. And, that's a process, and you have to have every little thing they ask for presented to them. So I'm not going to put a date on it, but I will say, for you're wondering what's next with the exchanges, we're looking to go bigger. We're looking to add strength to that list, of that big list of lineup that we have already. So, I'm excited to drop those bombshells in the not so distant future, but we'll leave it at that as far as the exchanges, and maybe RDub or Satoshi. I know there's some prizes coming up this week, but I don't know. Can we give any of those away? Probably not, eh?
Let's not.
Oh, damn it. All right.
Well, I mean, as I said earlier, there's the potential of always, having to push, or final checks or audit or whatever it is. There's things that are outside of the project's control, So for that reason, I'm going to divert back to we under promise and over deliver here at Squidgrow. You know what I mean?
That.
I mean, So last thing I want to do is, start getting on here and promising X, Y, and Z. And then, not because I lack the intent to follow through with that, but some unforeseen issue arise, that's outside of my control or my team's control, but trust and believe, we definitely got more things, in the works, and some of them have been in the works for a while. I think we're listed on 7, 8 exchanges right now.
8. Yeah, I think 8, and our BitTrue will be 8, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, 8 exchanges, not including like the swaps that we're on, like Reflex, and some other ones. We're just getting warmed up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like our first little exchange, Bitmark. Actually, our first exchange will be Kex, and then followed by Bitmark. Those are just stepping stones. Every exchange we are listing on is a stepping stone in the direction that I'm trying to go, and that direction is up, not the opposite.
Yep, all the way up.
Yes, sir.
All the way up.
Guess what we can say in terms of the more traditional marketing stuff that especially the community like to hear about, we can just say that we have some really exciting stuff in the woodworks that will be coming out very soon. So keep your eye out on the Telegram, jump in and say hey to everyone, and you're welcome to shoot Shiptoshi, Dane, or myself a DM as well. But yeah, I mean, our primary focus over the last week or so was definitely landing, the 4 exchanges that we've just announced as well. But, we are going to continue with that focus, but we will be reverting as well to some of the more traditional marketing moves as well.
Very cool. Well, that's fantastic to hear. I'm glad you guys would share some bombshells with everyone today who's watching, 140 people. So I want to thank Dane. He's still driving. Hopefully you weren't driving the whole time. Maybe you parked somewhere, You know what I mean?
I've been cruising, man. I'm going through Pensacola, Florida right now. I'm getting close to Denver, where I'm staying. So it's actually making my drive go really fast. I can do this all night if you want.
Okay, very good, very well. You know what? Even better then. And Shib, sounds like you're a little under the weather or maybe allergies. I don't know, but get well soon. R-Dub, you're super chill, dude. Nice to meet you, man. And hopefully we can do this again in the future, right? I had a blast, and I wish everyone well. Anything you guys want to say real quick before we hop off?
I appreciate your time, man. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much, John. It was a pleasure.
Let's definitely do it again, man. Let's plan to come back here and say like a month or so and give a little checkup on what we've done and go through with you, where we're at in that point in time, because I'm sure it'll be an entirely different market and things to talk about.
Okay, absolutely.
Thanks again, John. It's a pleasure speaking with you. I love people that ask the tough questions and really do their own homework and also present that to their investors and their community. I imagine that you're going to be a much, much bigger channel the next time we get to come on with you. And so it's a privilege. And it's a privilege to help you grow, I hope. And, from there, let's do it again sometime, man.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure, guys. You gentlemen are very intelligent. And I'm telling you right now, if you're an investor in Squidgrow, you're in the right place, man. These guys are going to take care. I myself have bought quite a bit, so I'm hoping that they do good on what they say, because so far they are. So you know what? Why doubt them yet, right? So I'll catch you all on the next one. Bye, guys.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Bye.